There, YouTube, what's good? How I forget my own saying from the beginning. Let me. I'm gonna take it back. What's goody in the hoodie, my guy? Welcome to another episode of Kong Kong Conversations. This is another week where I was like, oh, I'm not gonna record, or I was, and I was like nervous to record. But I'm doing it anyway because I need to keep promises to myself. Otherwise, how do I know what it looks like when other people keep promises to me if I don't do it for myself? Discipline. Another reason why I didn't want to record this week is because on Saturday, I was up at like 4 a.m. for no reason. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay awake. And then when the sun comes up, I'm gonna go look for birds. So I have footage to go through and edit and sound recordings from the Merlin app that I need to edit. So expect my birding video to drop whenever I have the time to fix it. I'm really taking on like Leo Skepi's energy of not forcing things to happen. If it's meant to be, do it, while also applying Mel Robbins' ideology of if you are inspired to do it, do something, take action within 5 seconds. So, this is me taking action from inspiration from 5 seconds ago. And I finally don't feel like I'm stressed out. So, here we are. Um, as far as what today I'm gonna talk about is concerned, I don't really know. I guess, you know what? No, let's talk about like, ooh, I just dropped the other microphone tippy thingy. Full disclosure, I need a manicure. So if you see this craziness and you're like, whoa, girl, go get a mani. I know, I know, I'm gonna. I saw my coworker actually like look at my nails when we were taking lunch together, and like my soul was like, oh, no, she noticed. She noticed my nails are not done. Almost messed that up. Um, yeah, no, I used to not care, but then like growing up, my mom and dad would like look at my nails if the paint was chipping and be like, "Yo, take that shit off. It looks trashy." Not those exact words. They would say, please take off your nail polish. That looks trashy. So you hear that enough when you're little and you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't look great. So I'm trying to have trashy ass hands. I'm gonna do my nails. I'm gonna do them. So yeah, I kind of want to talk about socializing and what it's like to really push yourself to be social more as an adult versus when we were younger. Like when we were young, we were living life correctly. We we did things with no fear, no anxiety. We had little to no filter whatsoever. Like kids, they just do. They just exist. And then when they see other people that do and exist in a cool or similar way, they're like, hey, you want to exist collaboratively, like you trying to be friends. And not only do they become friends, they are like, you know what? You're my best friend. I met you 10 minutes ago and you're my new best friend. Like, I love that. I love that. First of all, because like I'm clingy. When I find friends and I find somebody I like, you're stuck with me. Like I like you. If you cancel on me, I'll let you know like I'm really sad. I would love if we could reschedule cuz like I miss you. Um like I'm very yeah. I'm not, I can't hide that. Like if I choose you to be one of my humans in my life, you'll know. You'll know even if I'm not hitting you up every single day, because the second we link up together, oh my god, I love you. Like you're going to feel it. You're going to know. Okay. Um, so yeah, I really do admire youth, the young, for being able to do that. Goodness, does that sound so aging? I'm not old. Okay? And I likely do not consider you old as well. I For you to be old, I can't even say like you need to have white hair to be old because I got white hair. I've had white hair since college, okay? College is probably what gave me white hair, okay? But yeah, I'm not old. It's just I'm at the point, and I feel like a lot of individuals I know of are at the point where we really only make friends within like the workspace or friends from when we were back in school. And that is a decent majority of my friends, people I've met throughout my years in schooling. Now, I want to branch out more. I want to be a social butterfly and not just through social media. Like, I genuinely want to have more people in my life. I'm so sorry if that sounded weird, by the way. I was like trying to talk while hiccup burping at the same time. It was an odd sensation. I hope I talked through that okay because I'm not fitting it out. Um, yeah, so when we socialize as adults, it's pretty limiting. And I also think that the transition from engaging socially in person to now engaging socially through everything in the screen, whether it's, social media, it's through instant messaging. If you still call it, people don't call it instant messaging anymore, they call it the DMs. Oh, the DMs. My God. This is like when I heard somebody say the Google. This is the same friend I was, yeah, it's one of my friends who said that. I am guilty. Yeah, so we're not interacting with individuals as much in person, which is why a lot of us more mature folk, i.e., anyone who's not an undergrad, why we socialize so much in the workspace, why we have happy hours, why we, yeah, yeah. Essentially, it's tough finding friends when you're older. But there are little moments I really think help to tie that kind of excitement and energy, even if you don't have consistent friends. Like, I love having girl moments in public. Like, if there is a girl who's out, I think this happened to a high schooler the other day. I feel like it came off weird because she was like younger. I usually try not to talk to younger people because that's creepy. One, ew. Why are you making time to talk to people underage? And two, um, yo, teenagers are fucking mean, okay? Okay. And I listen, I was in a classroom. I was a teacher for high schoolers. They's mean, no matter what language they speak, because mine were Spanish speaking kids. Well, they can't be mean. Not every teenager's mean, but like the hormones and the lack of ability to control anything in life from being underage, they're just oh, they can be terrors. In any case, so I saw this girl on the MTA. She's with her friend. They're having their moment, and then I noticed like the back of her hair, like it wasn't fixed. It was a little frizzy. And I was like, yo, like just fix the back of your hair, girl. She's like, oh my God, it's because I fell asleep. I was like, it's all good. We all do it. And then on my way out, I was like, yo, always be a girl's girl. Like those little moments, like I don't need to hang out for like an hour with, trying to get to know a stranger. I like those little moments to me. That's a friend in passing for me. It's a moment where I felt safe and vulnerable enough to communicate with you. And in return, that individual also felt safe and vulnerable enough to engage with me in return. And that's really nice. And on the occasion, I'll have a stranger come and compliment my outfit, or I've never had anyone try to correct how I look, just my sister, because she will always tell me the truth. But just know, if I see you in public and your hair extensions are showing, your makeup is fucked up, you got lipstick on your teeth, your hair is fucked up, if I see something, odds are I'm gonna tell you. And I am trying to get back to complimenting people more. And not just women, because I compliment a lot of women. Y'all be dressing so cute in New York City streets. I'll be like, okay, look at the fit. I am working on my comfort levels with the male side of the species. If you're a dude watching this, yeah. Because guys can be fashionable when they want to be. So, those are really good examples of moments where you can practice social engagement and facilitating a friendly atmosphere without necessarily dedicating to, okay, I'm going to meet this person. I am going to dedicate to hanging out with them so I can get to know them, and I am going to make it a goal to be their friend. It doesn't need to be like that. Because unless you're seeing that person consistently, it's one, a waste of time. And if you don't see commonality from the get, it's kind of a waste of energy. When it comes to coworkers, socializing in the workplace, it's a real hit or miss because the conversation is either going to go so networky and professional where it's just like, okay, I like you. That's it. Versus like the other kind of coworkers that, it starts out very professional and then they have that moment of like, oh shit. Or I mean, in my case, it's usually like an oh shit moment that makes me laugh or shows my weirdness, whatever. I didn't need to do that. I'm so sorry. Oh, in any case, there is usually something aside from that professional networking kind of introduction that really allows the ice to be broken enough to show true personality, which I appreciate because I work with that. Networking, it's just like I'm running through a list of questions, and when I finish those lists of professional questions where I've asked you like, what do you do? How long have you been in this position? What got you to this? Is this something you ever saw for yourself? Do you see this being where you stay long term? Once I run out of those kind of questions, I start that's when I do the icebreakers. That's when I'll be like, wow, that's so interesting. So, if you had a superpower, what would it be? Yeah, that's my favorite icebreaker. It sounds so straightforward, and I feel like people are always asking it, but it's my favorite because of my answer. People will be like, I want to be invisible. I want to fly. I want to just travel through time. I don't know, whatever superpowers people think of. And I'm always like, I'm waiting for my turn. And they're like, oh, what would your superpower be? Avatar. I want to control all the elements. Blood bending, lit. Volcano bending, okay. Can I bend some lightning? Huh? Yeah. Um, and people get so mad at that it starts leading to other conversations like, oh, that doesn't count. Like, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it counts. Because you telling me being an avatar able to control the four elements that doesn't count as a superpower? Do it right now. It's not a superpower. Can you do it? And I don't mean the little electrostatic thingy where you put the thing next to the flowing water and it just like moves. That's an experiment. Maybe I should make a video on that. That's kind of fun. That's not what I mean though. I mean like full-fledged avatar. If you can't do it in real life right now, it's a superpower. Get over it. So when it comes to also socializing outside of the workplace, it gets even more limited from there. It's yeah, you have the passing friend that I mentioned earlier, friend in passing. Does that mean that they're dying? I hope that's not how it's coming off. It's more of like a friend in the moment that like the friendship also ends after that moment. That's what I mean. I hope y'all don't think I'm talking about like making friends with the dead. I mean, if you want to, it's not for me. But you boo boo. Just protect yourself, okay? And know what you're getting into. Aside from the random strangers you meet on the street and meeting coworkers as friends, how many other places are you going to meet friends? You need to have a consistent other place you go to that allows you to have that consistent exposure to other consistent goers. Or, that one brave person who decided to just show up and they're an extrovert. That's great. For example, or if you're somebody who likes to read, that's my example. That's what I'm okay, that's what I'm gonna go with. If you like to read, go to the library consistently. Go find a cafe to read books consistently. Just have that maybe one day a week, something. But if you keep it consistent enough, you'll start to notice who are the regulars there. What are the faces that you're commonly seeing? And are these people you could potentially strike a conversation with? And for me, I always start with a compliment for striking a conversation because it's so easy to get people in a nice, lighthearted mood when you tell them something nice and they're like so happy and grateful. They're like, oh my gosh, not exactly like that, but you know what I mean. So, consistency allows you to expose yourself to other individuals who are likely consistent as well, and you can connect with them. Gym goers. I'm not one of these gym people. If you see me in the gym and I'm like this, that's on purpose. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to be talked to by nobody, okay? And like, I'm not going to hold you. I'm very confident that my former students go to the same gym as me. I just don't know for sure because everyone's blurry, but I recognize voices and I'm ignoring y'all. That is behind me. And unless you're going to follow my socials, stay away. Um, so, meeting in the gym, it's an option. And that can, start from complimenting somebody's, it's always a compliment for me, complimenting a workout or asking someone for more knowledge. Like, hey, I saw that you were squatting and I think your form is really great. How did you learn how to do that? Can you watch me do a quick squat and like correct me? Like, what's your knowledge? What's your background about working out? Have you always been a gym person? Like, it just goes from there and it rolls. And I don't know if it's because of my brain. Like, my brain is really really good at not shutting up, and I think that helps me. I'm not going to violate my own HIPAA here, but if your brain also doesn't shut the fuck up, lean into it. Lean into it and do your best to stay present and be a good listener. Always try to be a good listener because making friends is not about talking about you all the time, even if your brain is ready to. Even if every time a person says something, you have something in your memory bank or your experiences, it's like, oh, I had something like this. Oh, this reminds me of this. It's not about us. We need to practice active listening, not passive. Active listening. There's a big difference. Maybe that's another video I'll do. We'll find out. Eventually. And then There's sporadic socialization where you are out and about doing regular things. I call my things that I do Emily things. So when I say Emily things, it's usually the weird things that I cannot convince the people around me to go to unless they're my coworkers. Like it's things like going for nature walks, going bird watching, let's go find some fungi, let's get shroomy with it. The native kind, the native kind, I do not endorse the use of drugs, at least until you are above age. I don't mean 18. Like, if you're gonna do drugs, wait till your frontal lobe is developed, son. Wait till at least 21. And if you really want to do your body some good, wait till 25 to touch any substance. I don't regret the things I have done in the past and the experiences I've had. I only regret not allowing my brain and my body to fully develop before I welcomed in those substances. But yeah, like Emily things, if you're going about your human things, you may meet somebody and that could lead to an exchange of numbers. It could lead to an exchange of socials. So you never really know. I think it feels harder also as an adult to socialize because we have so much awareness and consciousness of what we do, how we do it, how it can be perceived, whether it's true or not. And that can elicit a lot of feelings that aren't always encouraging in the moment and can actually discourage us from wanting to engage further. Um, in other words, fuck it. They don't like you, they don't need to stay around you. If they fuck with you, you might have a friend. I'm so serious when I'm saying like kids have it right. Just I'm not saying be unhinged. Like don't say some out of pocket shit that could really offend people. Do things that feel right, that feel authentic and feel genuine, that lead to a natural kind of connection. Don't force it. Just don't. And before I go into socializing over social media now, which I'm not sure how much I'm actually going to talk about because I don't socialize on social media. I'll get back to that. I have been distracted. I don't know if you see me, I keep looking over here. Um, it's because I have a paperweight that I don't use as a paperweight. It's just decor. It just makes me happy. It's a bee. It's a little pea. I actually got this on Barnes and Noble and it's just so cute. And I don't have books just randomly staying open in my place. Like if I had a Bible that I had on like display, okay, an encyclopedia. Ooh, I can use my textbooks. Except I have nowhere to display it. So for now, my bee buddy stays with me. Taking a step back. So socializing over social media. It's weird, son. Social media used to be a place where people genuinely socialized. They would post things, people would respond. I remember, I remember back on Facebook, we were like Man Crush Monday or Woman Crush Wednesday, or like we would do little posts to engage our friends, like, oh, what is my favorite body part? What is your favorite body part of mine? If you comment, I'll post on your feed, what my favorite body part of it was usually like weird things like I like your shoulders, I like your lips. It was dumb. Okay, social media at first it was done, but we were socializing. Now social media, especially in the sense that I use it now, it's a lot of disassociating, just trying to keep the brain occupied, and then it's occupied long enough, you look at the clock and you lost some hours. It's not genuine socialization. Yes, you can leave comments. Yes, you can like, you can follow, you can subscribe. That's a different type of interaction that very rarely leads to a genuine connection. That's just what it is. Okay. So if you're like me, where you're on Instagram, you're not always there to socialize. I think that upsets a lot of people on my gram who'll be in my DMs thinking I'm gonna respond. Like, just because I'm active doesn't mean I'm actively looking to cue into like life. I'm active on social media to cue out, to disassociate. I'm watching videos, I'm not looking at messages. In light of that, there are ways that you can socialize virtually through social media. And it's the same kind of methods, liking, commenting, subscribing, maybe. It's just making sure you're doing it with somebody who's personable. Like if I okay, I'm using Leo Skeppy again because I just been watching his videos back to back to back. If I start following him, I subscribe, I start commenting, it is a little unlikely to develop a friendship in that way just because he has so many people following him, so many people looking to get his attention, looking to show gratitude, this, that, and the third, all of it. Okay. It's not likely. However, if it's a regular schmegular person that's local or like some rando who's also not a social media kind of, I want to say figure, because he is one of those people that's actually like really genuine, but social has a strong social media presence. You are more likely to entice a response from them as long as they're fairly active. Okay, so pick and choose wisely and be careful, especially again, nobody who's over 18 should talk to anybody that's under 18. Fucking ew, son. Ew. Unless you are actually required to for work, like the medical field, the education field, things like that, you should not be talking to nobody underage or family. Duh. Because that's gross. You don't got nobody else to talk to? Oh, wait, this is about friendship. That. Mm. Okay, let me rephrase that. That's gross. You don't have enough game to approach anybody other than the youth that's so impressionable, that's so easy to manipulate and easy to groom to your needs. Gross. Please consider the age groups you are socializing with. I actually realized recently that once I'm outside of my friend group that I've met younger in school, when I socialize on my own, I tend to gravitate towards the more mature crowd, like people who have kids. I've befriended somebody who's a grandparent before. There's just something about them having such a nice, vibrant energy that matches mine with the added benefit of life experience and wisdom and a sense of humor I hope to aspire to one day. It was not intentional. It's just what I've noticed. And you know what? Not there's some funny ass people. You just like as long as like again above 18, preferably above 21, and you're talking to somebody in like their 40s, their 50s, for non-dating reasons, for like friend reasons, it's quite enjoyable, and it's also a good way to expose yourself for those who maybe don't have it all together. You know, if you meet individuals like that and you start to think like this person is at this point in life and they are dealing with this issue that I'm also dealing with. When I get to this point, when I get to this age like them, is this something I really want to continue dealing with? Is this something I can maybe adjust now before it becomes an issue later on? So it's really, you can learn a lot from hanging out with older individuals, which reminds me of my friend and coworker. There's like two coworkers I've been like slowly trying to get more comfortable hanging out with. I'm not gonna name names because we're not there yet, and I it sounds a little crazy. But one of my coworkers, we actually got the chance to meet up over coffee and cheese, man. We actually went to a little place in Brooklyn called Coffee and Chisme that is run and owned by a Mexican family. If you haven't had the chance to check it out, their location is currently on 86th Street. Hopefully, they'll expand very soon. Really, really phenomenal place. In any case, this was the person I said earlier was like the Google. And like I heard that from across the cafe. I was like, girl, did you just say the Google? And we like died laughing for a solid 5 minutes just because of that. Like it was such a silly thing, but like I do the same thing clearly. But in talking to her, we talked for hours. We would not shut the fuck up. Like we did like what 20 minutes of like actual work. It was more chisme than anything. Uh and not only was she able to like have such a phenomenal energy that I could vibe with, but like she put me on to like some things in life I didn't even think about. Uh she was like mentioning like I have my end of life plan ready. So like every year I will write my logins, my passwords, where to find important documents, um, anything that's important to my family in case something happens to me. And I update this file yearly. I share it with my siblings, and I'm like, that is genius. That's genius. Cause like, yo, how are they gonna know where my passport is when I go? Or my social security card is? How are they gonna know where I keep my moolah? But that's what I mean, like little bits and pieces of wisdom just from that kind of interaction. And I love that. So, if you find yourself looking to be more social, do it. Do it kindly, do it patiently, don't force it, do it authentically, and really follow your instincts. Okay? It, Listen, I know following your instincts, it takes practice, like tuning into your intuition. You have to learn how to actually hear it, like allow yourself to be receptive of the messages from within. Practice that, and then practice connecting outward. Wait, do we have a method? We have a method. Connect within before you connect out. Okay? In other words, go inwards before you extend yourself outwards. Wow. I'm on a roll today. That's crazy. And I wasn't gonna record. Wow, I feel silly. Either way, I am glad that we talked about this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, yeah, that's another reason why I didn't want to talk. I wasn't really sure, obviously, from the way the video started, what I wanted to talk about, just because I found myself kind of ruminating on the same issue from 1 and 2. Unfortunately, this issue for me personally is still ongoing. So, update, I guess. I have not personally addressed that person. However, I did attempt to kind of speak to some of the group just because, like I mentioned previously, despite the fact that I have cut this one problem out multiple times, like ghosted, blocked, yeah, unfortunately, there have been many times where the group themselves facilitated bringing us together. And I think I've allowed it to happen too long, too many times. Although I do have to acknowledge the most recent time I've allowed this person back into my life, that was on me. That was me. Uh, Unfortunately, that conversation did not go how I anticipated. I There was agreement. We all kind of like knew the way the situation was gone about wasn't great. However, I was faced with a lot of justification which is crazy because like the actual person was not there. It was like them putting logic to something that A, they didn't have the opinion to, B, the person couldn't attest to them because they weren't there. And you can understand why people do things. You can understand all you want. That does not excuse anything. Doesn't excuse anything. And this is a very tricky, very sticky situation for me just because there's more layers, more. And in my case, once I think about something, I've thought about it so thoroughly, like I feel the feelings and I feel them strongly. And I listen, I journaled about it. I talked to family, I talked to my therapist, I even talked to my friends, and only my family were the ones that had the same mentality as me. They're the only ones because they've also seen it from day one and they are not attached to this person to be forgiving or even kind. Like they don't listen, my family don't like my friends from school. They did not. So very quickly whenever there was a problem, they're like, hello, we told you they were no good. So this is one of those cases. However, I don't disagree. We were in alignment. Uh, it's just a cyclic pattern that I've noticed. And in light of like my friends trying to justify it and find logic by reasoning, and again, despite us all agreeing that it was the wrong way to go about shit, it was still kind of like downplaying the situation despite how clearly I had communicated how I felt. And everything they had brought to me in my brain, I had a very clear rebuttal and the exact example as to why that is not the case here. And what really triggered me is by the end of it, I was told, well, you know how blank is. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. There's nothing more toxic than when people say, you know how blank is, and it's toxic not just from the people saying it, but also like the person who is enforcing that kind of discussion around them. I hate that so much. You know how blank is. It just accept, and then the follow up is, you know how blank is. I think you're thinking too much into this, and it's gonna be more of a problem before if you keep thinking into it. And I'm like, no, I'm not thinking too much into it. I'm thinking so clearly. Every ounce, every part of me feels very clear. Like it's just I can't. I don't know if it's like my lack of vocabulary going on right now, but that's just what it felt like to me. It was like clear as day. It's if somebody ever tells you, "Oh, you know how they are, you know, act accordingly." Yeah, I know how they are. That doesn't mean I have to accept them in my life. The fuck? The fuck? You know how they are. What about them knowing how I am? Where is the reciprocation? Oh, I know how they are. I should act accordingly. When are they going to act accordingly? When are they going to remember my boundaries, the way I am, my sense of humor, this, that, and everything? Like, I have to accept how they are and I need to work with that. But you see what I mean? Like, if it's not being reciprocated, no, 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 no. especially when that other party has said things like, you're being too sensitive, you can't take a joke, you're doing the most, when it's usually discussing or surrounding like setting boundaries. That, at least that's what it is in my case. So this is a very finicky situation. I'm still figuring out how to navigate it. In addition, if you're going to speak to individuals who they themselves have a pattern of allowing not the best people to not only stay around them, but to welcome them back time and time again with reasonings as, I just can't be alone right now. And this is, I feel like this sounds like talking shit, but this is actually like the reality with these people. If you are discussing that with individuals with that kind of history and background, you can't really expect them to understand why you are so ready to cut it, because they themselves don't do that. That's not the mentality they have. And I should have known that. I should have been aware. And by the end of the conversation, I thanked them for talking me down. That was a lie. I said, okay, I'll chill out. Also a lie. I am going to take my therapist's advice. I'll be cordial. The moment I feel uncomfortable, the moment I feel upset, the moment I feel any type of way, I'm walking out. I don't know. I don't owe anybody my time or energy that doesn't make me feel good. If I don't feel good interacting with you, I'm not going to interact with you. Point blank, period. And yeah, that's it. That's officially it. So thanks. Happy you could be here. Happy I didn't spend the whole episode talking about that. I still gotta deal with that shit though. In any case, thanks. I am going to start remembering to ask y'all to like, comment, subscribe, maybe send this to somebody who could use a message like this. Yes. Thanks. Ew, why am I doing what? I still do this in pictures. They'll be like, okay, smile. I definitely prefer, like, you'll okay, sorry. I'm getting distracted again. I think I got distracted a lot in this video. Okay, ciao.